Now, cable end preparation on 15 kV OkaGuard OkaSeal tape shielded cable will be demonstrated. Using a tape measure, measure the jacket cutback distance and mark with a writing utensil. Next, a piece of electrical tape is wrapped around the cable at that mark. Using a splicing knife, ring cut the jacket using the electrical tape as a guide. Next, holding the olfa adjustable utility knife against the end of the cable, set the blade depth to approximately 95% of the jacket thickness. Proceed with a longitudinal cut along the jacket from the ring cut just made to the end of the cable. Be careful not to nick the underlying copper tape shield. Finally, remove the jacket using needle nose pliers if necessary to assist. On this particular end of the cable, the helically applied copper tape shield is tucked under adjacent wraps. One cannot simply unwrap this end and use metal scissors to cut the shield. To correctly terminate the tucked end, measure the shield cutback distance and mark with a writing utensil. Take a constant force spring and wrap it around the shield at the mark just made. Secure the clamp with electrical tape. Next, lightly score the copper tape using a splicing knife while using the edge of the constant force spring as a guide. The tip of the splicing knife is then used to pry the leading edge of the shield against the clamp edge. Continue to use the edge of the clamp as a cutting tool until enough shield is exposed to securely grab it with needle nose pliers. Using the needle nose pliers, continue cutting the shield against the clamp until completely severed. Slide the severed shield off and remove the clamp. For demonstration purposes, the untucked end of the helically applied copper tape shield will be properly terminated. Unlike the tucked end, the untucked end of the shield can simply be unraveled. Measure the shield cutback distance and mark with a writing utensil. Take a constant force spring and partially wrap it around the shield at the mark just made. Next, take the writing utensil and continue to mark circumferentially around the shield. Remove the clamp, unravel the shield, and use metal scissors to cut the shield at the line just made. Remove the severed shield off and secure the shield to the cable core using electrical tape. Next, using a tape measure, measure the semicon cutback distance and mark with a writing utensil. Holding the Ripley banana peeler against the end of the cable, set the blade depth to approximately 75% of the semicon thickness. Position the banana peeler at the mark and circumferentially score the semicon. Unlike the 15 kV Okonite UROJ cable demonstration, the olfa knife will be used to make longitudinal cuts from the circumferential score to the end of the cable. Holding the olfa knife against the end of the cable, set the blade depth to approximately 75% of the semicon thickness. Position the olfa knife at the circumferential score and longitudinally score the insulation to the end of the cable. Longitudinal cuts should be made such that 1/4 to 1/2 inch strips are produced. Making too wide of strips will cause the semicon to prematurely break in the next step. Also, be careful not to accidentally cut into the underlying insulation, as this may cause premature accessory failures. Using needle nose pliers, grab a strip of semicon at the end of the cable. It's okay to take a small portion of insulation with the semicon strip, as this portion of the insulation will be removed when preparing for the underlying connector. Roll the semicon strip around the tip of the pliers towards the semicon circumferential score. When an adequate length of semicon strip has been rolled back, one can pull the remaining strip length back with a slow and steady motion towards the circumferential score. Nearing the semicon circumferential score, be sure to tear the strip at a right angle to the score. Doing so eliminates the creation of unwanted voids at the score. Proceed with the remaining semicon strips until all of the semicon is removed. Next, using a tape measure, measure the insulation and conductor shield cutback distance and mark with a writing utensil. Next, a constant force spring is wrapped around the insulation at that mark. Using a splicing knife, ring cut the insulation using the constant force spring as a guide. It may be necessary to make multiple passes at the ring cut to cut all the way through. Next, longitudinal cuts may be made from the insulation ring cut to the end of the cable to facilitate removal. The olfa adjustable utility knife will be used to accomplish this. Holding the olfa knife against the end of the cable, set the blade depth to approximately 95% of the core thickness. When the cuts are being made, be careful not to nick the underlying conductor. Needle nose pliers or channel locks may then be used to remove the insulation piece from the conductor. If necessary, clean the prepared end per the accessory instructions. Examine the end for accidental cuts into the insulation system, flexing the cable if necessary. If everything looks okay, the end is now ready for splicing or terminating.